It's been 1 year since a massive solar flare destroyed life on Earth as we knew it. With their parents gone and their supplies running low, grieving step-siblings Millie and Rose leave home with their infant half-brother in search of Millie's grandma, a Seminole elder, who Millie knows in her gut is still alive, even if Rose isn't so sure. Along the way, they meet a group of other surviving kids calling themselves the Lost Boys and their lone adult leader, who reluctantly agree to help them brave the hostile wasteland to make it to Millie's grandma safely. But the landscape isn't the only threat. There's also the Hive, a villainous group that has spent the last year hoarding supplies and living in luxury, and will do anything to keep it that way. Here is a preview of The Flicker by H.E. Edgmon. Millie. It's way too hot to be doing this today. That's what Millie's thinking as she digs her stepdaddy's grave, June's sun making her sweat like a sinner in church. Of course, most days are too hot in a post-Flicker world, and it's just going to get worse as the summer goes on. Ozone layer's not what it used to be. That's what Carrie always says. Well, it's what he said. Millie slams the shovel into the dirt to keep it propped upright and rubs a hand over her face. She don't look down and left at the spot on the ground where Carrie's body is limp, a saggy pile of limbs. She don't want to look at him again, not until she has to. It makes her stomach hurt. What are you doing? Why are you stopping? Deep breath. Try not to scream. As pretty a voice as Rose has, Millie still don't want to listen to it, especially not right now. Deep freaking breath. She looks over her shoulder to see her stepsister standing at the secret opening to the tater hole, the hole in the ground they've been living in since the Flicker, the mega solar flare that destroyed, everything. The opening is camouflaged in green and brown paint, disguised as part of the mountain it's built into. Right now, with it standing wide open, Millie can see the way a concrete staircase inside stretches down and down until it disappears into the dark. Rose, her stepsister, has a face as pretty as her voice, with big blue eyes and wild blonde hair, and it irritates Millie just as much. What good is being pretty when the whole world is over anyway? I'm taking a break. He's just lying there. Well, yeah, of course he's just lying there. Does Rose expect her dad to get up and dig his own grave? The question tries to climb up and out of her mouth, but Millie swallows before she can actually say it out loud. I know you and Rose may not always see eye to eye, but she's a lot more sensitive than she seems. You have to be gentle with her. That's what her mama said weeks before she married Carrie and Rose became Millie's stepsister. It was only a year later that the whole world went upside down. But really, Millie's world was already pretty messed up to begin with. Still, she clenches her fists and tries for gentleness. My arms hurt. In case you forgot, I had to carry him out here by myself. Maybe she fails at gentleness. Rose narrows those pretty eyes into slits as sharp as knives. She opens her mouth to deliver some nasty retort, and Millie's shoulders tense in preparation. But whatever it is, she don't actually say it. Sammy, their 9-month-old brother, tucked against Rose's hip, chooses that moment to let out a wail. The chubby-cheeked, bright-eyed infant slaps pathetically at the button of Rose's overalls, frustrated he can't figure out how to undo them. Rose's eyes soften from knives to half-moons when she looks at Sammy. She sighs. That was your choice. You think you always have to do everything yourself. I could have helped. Yeah, okay. Millie has her doubts. You were kind of busy. Rose was busy sobbing and throwing punches at the wall. Even now her knuckles are red from connecting with concrete and metal, her eyes still puffy. Millie don't blame her. If she'd had time to throw a fit when her mama died, she would have. She just didn't. When her mama died, she'd already been sick for a while. Problems from Sammy's delivery that never got any better. Carrie did his best to save her. He went into town, looked for medicine, even looked for a doctor, but in the end, they knew she was leaving them. Millie was with her when it happened. She held her hand and told her it was okay to let go. She promised they'd be all right without her because Millie would make sure they were. And then her mama just wasn't there anymore. Her body was there, but the she-ness was gone. It was just bones and skin and hair, and eventually, right before Carrie finally took it outside and buried it, a weird smell. It wasn't her mama anymore. And no matter how bad Millie might have wanted to throw a fit, she had a promise to keep. She had to take care of Sammy and Carrie and Rose too, even though Rose acts like she don't want it. On the ground, down and to her right, is a dry little twig sticking out from the dirt. That's it. That's all there is to mark her mama's grave. Somewhere deep inside her belly, there's a place where Millie locks away all the fits she don't have time to have. When she gets so mad at Rose she sees red, she adds one. When Sammy just won't go to sleep and nothing is making him happy, she shuffles another one into her stomach. When she's hungry or thirsty or upset that she stinks because she hasn't bathed in weeks, or scared because she don't know when anything is going to get any better, she shoves it all in there. Her stomach hurts all the time. Every single thing Millie feels about her mama is locked inside the room in her belly. When she looks at her grave, the doorknob jiggles a little. She quickly looks away. Bells, the heat is really starting to mess with her head. Rose still hasn't said anything back, so when Sammy gives another vicious holler, Millie sighs. I think it's time for him to take a nap. Why don't you go put him down? Neither of you got enough sleep. Course, the whole reason Sammy didn't get any sleep was 'cause of Rose and her very loud grieving. She was up all night crying and screaming out any curse word she could think of, and everyone suffered for it. Rose sure as heck didn't sit next to her dad's deathbed and tell him it was okay to let go. Rose stood there yelling at him the whole time he was sick, threatening him with things worse than death if he abandoned her. Millie's pretty sure fear kept him going, as long as it did. But it wasn't enough to save him in the end. This has been a preview of The Flicker.